From BenQ, the treVoloU Bluetooth voice enhancing speaker. The BenQ speaker comes nicely packaged for protection and comes with your power adapter, USB-C cable, and 3.5 millimeter audio cable. The treVoloU has a pretty unique design look to it. Kind of catches your eye, but kind of blends in as well. Your connections in the back is for your 3.5 audio cable and USB-C. And on top of the unit, you have your options as far as power, Bluetooth, your sound modes, and volume. And here's a cool exploded view of the innards of the BenQ speaker and a comparison to my Soundcore Bluetooth speaker that I have. And what the heck does this have to do with ham radio? Well, I'm glad you stayed this far. Let's check that out. And before we jump right into the review of this speaker, I think it's important that you go and download the app that they have. This connects your phone to the Bluetooth speaker, and you can remote control your sound modes over here. By tapping it, it'll change to the different modes, shows your battery strength and everything, and sound profiles is what we're going to jump into next. That is an important step. It really improved the quality. So here we go. And this is where you can do sound profiles. This is where I think the speaker really shines in these sound profiles. My first testing, I didn't download the app. I didn't do any sound profiles, of course, without the app. And it was a pretty neat experience. But once I went in and did the sound profiles, that really brought out the sound of that speaker. I'm even more impressed with it now and really liking it. Now, this will also tell you if you have any firmware updates. And firmware updates, you'll download a program that helps you download the firmware, and you'll connect a USB-C cable to your computer, to the speaker. You'll follow very simple directions. Doesn't take long at all. I done it earlier before I started doing the testing, and it was a painless experience. Also, you got your guide, you got a sleep mode, true wireless stereo. Now, this is pretty neat. If you happen to have two of these speakers, you can pair both of them, and you can split those speakers into left and right channels. So that's pretty neat that it's got that feature. Of course, you can change language, get English, or I assume Chinese. Auto power off. If you forget to turn the thing off and it's not plugged in, it will turn itself off after some time. Got a ringtone. You can save your sound mode, so when you turn it back on, it doesn't default to the music. It'll default to whatever you left it on. And it's got an optimization program here. Of course, I opted out. I'm just testing and reviewing this product. Don't need to be sharing my user experience at this time. And version goes ahead and shows you what number of versions you got on all this stuff, so you can check to see if a firmware update applies to you, but you don't need to because it does that all on its own. So there is an overview of a look at the app. It's pretty neat. All right, well, we're in my video editor and thought I'd bring you in just to explain to you a little bit real quick while I'm editing this video why I've got this speaker from BenQ. It's the treVoloU, and it's a voice enhancing speaker. And why am I bringing this onto a ham radio channel? What does it got to do with that? Well, we're finna show you. First, tell you just a little bit about this speaker. BenQ did contact me, want to know if I wanted to review this speaker for my audience, and I thought you might find it interesting because, you know, I put out things that I find interesting that I think you will too. What sparked my interest when they contacted me and I was reading over this product was the voice enhancement. The speaker has 3 different modes. It's got general music, which is just what you would expect to hear coming out of a speaker, what you put into it, what comes out of it. And then it has a video learning mode. It brings out the voice just a little bit more. I feel like it does, but it also keeps the ambient noise in the background and stuff. It still keeps that alive. In our case, that would be the atmospheric noise on the band. So that's still there, but it does draw the voice out just a little bit to my ears. Now, the third mode is the thing that really got me interested. It's live learning mode. This is almost like I don't know if you call it AI learning mode or what, but they've got some circuitry, some programming into this speaker that actively tries its best to remove all background noise and only give you the frequencies of a human voice coming through the speaker. And it does quite well. I'll give you my final thoughts at the end of the video, but it really does a good job of taking a lot of that atmospheric noise out and still giving you the voice. So it's pretty neat. You know, if you have a radio that doesn't have any DSP filtering or not very good DSP filtering or something, this is a pretty good little option. You know, comparable to the manual, like what is it? West Mountain Radio, I think, has one. But you know, the manual adjustments, that this is kind of similar, but it's kind of auto. So if you want to go for auto thing, this may be something to consider. And we're going to jump right into some audio samples that are recorded. I always started out with the general setting, and then I went to the live video setting, and then the live learning settings. So you can tell the difference. The first two you may not can, but you definitely will understand when I turn on the active live learning mode. That really draws that atmospheric noise out. So I'm going to quit blabbing. Let's listen to what this thing sounds like.
Question mark, over. Kilo India 5 Uniform Lima Sierra. Here is VP9 Kilo Delta. Very good afternoon to you. I'll give you a signal report on the next transmission to you. My name is Walter, and I'm located on the islands of Bermuda. So back to you, KI5 Uniform Lima Sierra from VP9 Kilo Delta.
A place up there on the mountain, and I mean, it ain't no place like no big fancy house or nothing. It's just land, but we thought about going up there maybe one weekend and having us a little winter time get together and cook out up there. Or fall, not winter, fall. Yeah, cook some big old steaks or something and eat up there and sit by the fire. You and Lawson could come. Don't tell Warren.
Just a little bit of compression, and then you already have it on wide. Now the other thing, I go in there and take a look at your your bass and your treble settings for your sideband audio. And the only thing I would suggest is if you know the bass is let's say it's at 0, or say it's at 1 or 0, something like that. Drop it down one level. From if it's at 1 now, drop it down to 0. If it's at 0, drop it down to -1, and then let me listen to that. That'd be my suggestion.
All right, how about that for some sound testing? There was clear difference in the live learning mode where it really took away that atmospheric noise in most of the bands, and you could really hear that station a little better. Yeah, maybe a little muddy compared to just listening it straight out of a speaker without any filtering on it, but it's still clear. The clarity is nice, because if you've ever used the native noise reduction feature, say like in my 7300, it creates a echo to the voice. It's got a little echo to it, and that's a little distracting to me. I don't really like that. When I want to hear the station better, I want to hear it clearly, and that's where the treVoloU speaker really shines. Any station that I have S5 or more on the meter, then the live learning mode just shines. It takes the atmospheric noise down to a minimum and really brings that voice out really clearly, no echo. If the station is a little bit weaker than a S5, then I'll usually turn it over to the video learning mode, which brings in some more of that atmospheric noise, but still enhances and clarifies the voice of the station I'm trying to listen to a little bit. So it usually works out, and that's one great option, is you got these different modes you can switch in to see which one suits you better. You may come across the circumstance where the band's really noisy or not so noisy. One station's voice sounds a little different than the other, but this speaker has a really great ability to pull out those voices and to do its job the best that it can, and I think it's doing a great job. The only thing that I wish they would offer is different colors. The light blue color of the grill that you've seen on it is the only color option they currently have available at the time that I recorded this. They surely maybe will come out with some different options in the future, but it's not that bad. Some people just like to color match stuff and have a certain color theme around their shack or whatever. Talking about in the shack, what about taking this thing out of the shack? They do ask that you do not keep this in a car where it gets extremely hot. The operating range on this is up to 104 degrees Fahrenheit, 40 degrees Celsius. So if you take it outside for POTA or some type of portable work, you might want to place a ball cap over it or something to make a shade to just keep it out of direct sunlight because of the internal rechargeable battery. Now, the rechargeable battery, we didn't talk much about it. It lasts up to 12 hours operating time. It's got a great battery on it. So here in the shack, I just keep the USB-C cord plugged into a little wall wart, and it keeps it topped off, keeps it charged. Don't ever have to worry about the battery. But this is a pretty good option for DSP filtering, if you want to call it that. They call it AI AI voice clarity, and it does a good job. You could definitely use and maybe get a little better sound out of manual DSP filtering where you tune it in, but every time you hear a different station on a different band, different atmospheric noise, different voice levels, different signal levels, you probably have to go and adjust the DSP filter again. With the BenQ treVoloU, it does it automatically. It's all written in its code, so you don't have to worry about doing that. Just worry about hitting the button to switch modes to see how you can hear that station the best and work that station. So there'll be links in the description where you can read more about BenQ's treVoloU voice clarity speaker, and of course a link to Amazon so you can consider purchasing yourself one. I appreciate you coming by the video, and here's a video up here you may enjoy as well. 73.